For centuries, science and religion have been seen as separate realms, one grounded in logic and observation, the other in faith and belief. But what if a book written over 1,400 years ago contained knowledge that modern science would only confirm centuries later? The Quran, a scripture revealed in the 7th century, speaks of an expanding universe, the precise stages of human development, the role of mountains in stabilizing the earth, and even the intricate mechanics of the water cycle, long before humanity had the tools to uncover these truths. Could this be coincidence, or does it point to something far greater? What you're about to hear may challenge everything you thought you knew about the relationship between faith and science. The Quran, a book revealed over 1,400 years ago, stands as a timeless source of wisdom, guiding millions in their spiritual and moral lives. Yet, beyond its spiritual dimensions, it contains passages that seem to anticipate modern scientific discoveries, long before the tools of science existed to confirm them. This raises a fascinating question. How could a book from the 7th century contain insights that align with the findings of contemporary science? For centuries, the relationship between faith and science has been a subject of debate. Skeptics often assume that religious texts belong to an era when myths and superstitions shaped human understanding of the world. They argue that science and religion walk separate paths, one grounded in empirical evidence, the other in belief. But what happens when a religious text makes statements about the natural world that later prove to be scientifically accurate? It forces an honest mind to wonder, was this knowledge already available to the people of that time? Or was it revealed from a source beyond human limitations? Many ancient civilizations held curious but flawed views about the cosmos, the origins of life, and the workings of nature. Some believed that the earth was flat, resting on the back of a giant animal. Others imagined that the sun was carried across the sky by divine chariots. The Quran, however, steered clear of mythological explanations, instead offering descriptions of natural phenomena that, remarkably, align with modern scientific understanding. While critics may dismiss this as coincidence, the depth and precision of these descriptions challenge such an assumption. When the Quran speaks of the expanding universe, the development of the human embryo, the role of mountains in stabilizing the Earth's crust, or the existence of subatomic particles, it does so with an accuracy that would have been impossible for a 7th century desert dweller to comprehend, let alone articulate. The Prophet Muhammad, an unlettered man with no formal education, could not have accessed this information through human means. And yet, these scientific insights exist within the Quran, preserved for over a millennium. Skeptics may argue that some of these descriptions are vague, that they rely on poetic language rather than precise scientific terminology. But this perspective ignores an important reality. The Quran was not revealed as a scientific textbook. Its purpose is guidance, spiritual, moral, and intellectual. Yet, in its descriptions of the world, it conveys truths that modern science would take centuries to uncover. The fact that none of its statements on natural phenomena have been conclusively disproven is, in itself, a remarkable feat. This raises a deeper, more thought-provoking question. If a book revealed in the 7th century correctly describes aspects of reality that were verified only recently, what does that suggest about its origin? Could it truly be, as it claims, the word of the creator of the universe? The pursuit of knowledge, both scientific and spiritual, compels us to examine these questions with an open mind. As we explore the scientific insights found in the Quran, we step into a space where faith and reason intertwine, where revelation and discovery are not enemies, but companions on the journey to truth. For centuries, humanity has gazed up at the night sky, wondering about the vastness of the universe, its origins, and its ultimate fate. Ancient civilizations spun countless myths to explain the celestial wonders above them, from gods pulling the sun across the sky to the belief that the stars were mere lanterns hanging from a cosmic ceiling. Science, in its relentless pursuit of truth, has since uncovered profound insights into the cosmos. Yet, astonishingly, many of these discoveries align with descriptions found in the Quran, a book revealed over 14 centuries ago. One of the most groundbreaking revelations in modern cosmology is the concept of an expanding universe. In 1929, Edwin Hubble made an observation that changed everything. Distant galaxies appeared to be moving away from us in every direction, suggesting that the universe itself was stretching, growing larger over time. This discovery laid the foundation for what is now known as the Big Bang theory, which posits that the universe originated from a single point and has been expanding ever since. Before this breakthrough, the prevailing assumption was that the universe was static and unchanging, a belief held even by some of the greatest minds in history. Yet, remarkably, the Quran had already hinted at this reality over a millennium earlier. In a verse that would have been impossible to verify at the time, the Quran states, "And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander." 51:47. The phrasing is unambiguous. There is movement, growth, expansion. How could such a statement exist in a book revealed to an unlettered man in the deserts of Arabia at a time when scientific tools to observe the universe were non-existent? This is not a vague or poetic expression, but a claim that directly aligns with what modern astrophysics has confirmed. The Quran does not stop there. It also speaks of the origins of the universe in a way that eerily parallels the Big Bang theory. Another verse states, "Have those who disbelieved not considered that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them and made from water every living thing." 21:30. The choice of words suggests a singular unified existence of the cosmos before it was separated, an idea uncannily similar to the notion that all matter and space were once compressed into an infinitely dense point before exploding outward. Incredibly, the description goes even further. Scientists now believe that, in its infancy, the universe was composed of a hot, dense, gaseous mass, an environment of swirling cosmic smoke before the formation of galaxies and planets. The Quran echoes this when it describes the primordial universe as Dukhan, smoke. In yet another verse, it declares, "Then he directed himself to the heaven while it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, 'Come into being, willingly or unwillingly.' They said, 'We have come willingly.'" 41:11. The notion that the universe began as a chaotic, gaseous state before shaping itself into celestial bodies is a modern understanding that only became widely accepted after advancements in astronomy. Beyond its beginnings, the Quran also offers insight into the movement of celestial bodies, something ancient people misunderstood for centuries. Many civilizations believed the Earth was the center of the universe, with the sun and stars revolving around it. Some even imagined the heavens as a fixed dome above a stationary world. However, the Quran paints a far more dynamic picture of the cosmos. It states, "It is He who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each floating in an orbit." 21:33. The specific Arabic word used in this verse, Yazbahun, conveys the idea of self-propelled motion, movement that originates from the object itself. In the context of celestial bodies, it implies rotation as well as revolution. Today, we know that the sun does not remain fixed, but moves through the galaxy at an astonishing speed of approximately 828,000 kilometers per hour, dragging the entire solar system along with it. The moon, too, is in constant motion, orbiting Earth while rotating on its axis. The Quran, revealed in an era when the dominant belief was that celestial bodies were motionless, or that the sun revolved around the Earth, describes a reality that modern astronomy has only recently confirmed. This challenges conventional assumptions about the origins of scientific knowledge. If the Quran were merely the product of human authorship, how could it contain descriptions of cosmic phenomena that would not be understood until centuries later? Some may argue that these verses are coincidental, that any ancient text could be interpreted to match modern discoveries. But coincidence does not explain the consistency, the precision, or the repeated instances where Quranic verses align with the findings of contemporary science. More remarkably, the Quran never falls into the errors that other ancient texts and philosophers made when discussing the universe. It does not claim the heavens are held up by pillars, nor does it suggest the earth is resting on the back of a giant animal. Instead, it presents a view of the cosmos that aligns with what we now know through physics and astronomy. Science, by its nature, evolves. Theories are proposed, tested, refined, or discarded as new evidence emerges. Yet as our understanding of the universe grows, the Quran's descriptions continue to stand unchallenged, not just free from contradiction, but often anticipating discoveries long before they were made. How could a text from the 7th century contain knowledge that modern science would take centuries to uncover? It is a question worth pondering, one that invites both believers and skeptics to consider the possibility that the Quran is not a product of human authorship, but rather a revelation from the one who created the universe itself. For much of human history, the celestial bodies above were a source of mystery and speculation. To early civilizations, the sun was a divine chariot racing across the sky, while the moon was often seen as a luminous deity controlling tides and time. The motions of these celestial objects fascinated scholars, but without advanced telescopes or scientific understanding, their true nature remained elusive. It wasn't until relatively recently that modern astronomy unveiled the complexities of the sun, moon, and their orbits. Yet, remarkably, the Quran spoke of these realities more than 1,000 years before scientists confirmed them. The Quran describes the sun and moon as bodies that move in precise orbits. It states, "It is He who created the night and the day, and the sun and the moon, each floating in an orbit." 2133. At first glance, this might not seem extraordinary. Many cultures understood that the moon moves across the sky, but what makes this statement remarkable is the inclusion of the sun. At the time of the Quran's revelation, the dominant belief was that the sun remained fixed in the sky while the heavens revolved around the earth. Even the great minds of antiquity, such as Ptolemy, reinforced this geocentric view. Yet the Quran, in simple yet precise language, stated that the sun itself is in motion. Modern science has now confirmed that the sun does not remain still, but moves in a complex orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy, dragging the entire solar system along with it at astonishing speeds. This movement is not random, but follows a well-defined path, taking approximately 225 million years to complete one orbit. The term used in the Quran, yasbahun, implies motion that originates from the body itself. When describing movement on water, this verb means to swim, suggesting a self-propelled journey rather than an object being carried passively. In the context of celestial bodies, it indicates that the sun is not stationary, but actively moving through space, a fact that would not be fully understood until modern astrophysics uncovered the intricate mechanics of our galaxy. The moon, too, is described in a way that aligns with modern astronomical knowledge. The Quran differentiates between the sun and the moon, not only in their function but in their nature. While the sun is referred to as siraj, a lamp producing its own light, the moon is described as nur, meaning a light that is derived from another source. This distinction is striking because, at the time, it was widely assumed that the moon, like the sun, was self-illuminating. The realization that the moon merely reflects the sun's light did not become common knowledge until much later in human history. The Quran also makes mention of the phases of the moon, highlighting its gradual progression through different stages, a phenomenon that dictates the Islamic lunar calendar. The moon's orbit around the Earth is intricately precise, influencing the ocean tides and stabilizing Earth's axial tilt. Without the moon's gravitational influence, the planet's climate would be far less stable, making life as we know it vastly different. Interestingly, scientists have discovered that the sun is moving toward a specific point in the galaxy known as the solar apex. This motion suggests that our solar system is not aimlessly drifting through space, but is part of a greater cosmic order. The Quran hints at this movement when it describes the sun's course, reinforcing the idea that it follows a predetermined path. At a time when many civilizations imagined celestial bodies hanging motionless in the sky, the Quran described a reality that would only be confirmed with the advancements of space exploration and astrophysics. Skeptics may argue that ancient cultures had some understanding of astronomy, that they observed the cycles of the moon and the changing positions of the sun. But simple observation could not have revealed the sun's orbit, nor could it have distinguished the sun as a producer of light and the moon as a mere reflector. These are details that required knowledge far beyond what was available in the 7th century. The precision of these descriptions raises a compelling question. How could such knowledge exist in a book revealed at a time when humanity lacked even the most basic scientific tools to study the cosmos? As science continues to push the boundaries of human understanding, the Quran's descriptions of the universe remain unshaken. Its portrayal of the sun, moon, and their motions aligns with what modern astronomers have painstakingly discovered through centuries of research. The presence of such scientific accuracy in a text from the 7th century is more than an interesting coincidence. It is a profound mystery that challenges assumptions about knowledge, time, and revelation. Whether one views these verses as a remarkable foresight or as evidence of divine knowledge, the fact remains. The Quran spoke of the movement of the heavens long before science caught up. For much of human history, the idea that the earth was a flat, immovable surface dominated cultural and scientific thought. Ancient civilizations built their understanding of the world on what they could see with the naked eye. Vast, unbroken land stretching in all directions, an endless horizon where the sky seemed to meet the ground. Many believed the earth was held up by mighty pillars or carried on the back of an enormous creature. Even some of the greatest thinkers of antiquity struggled with the concept of a spherical earth, though a few, like Pythagoras and later Aristotle, began to suspect otherwise. It would take centuries, aided by advances in navigation and astronomy, before the world would accept what is now an undeniable fact. The earth is not flat. And yet, long before this understanding became mainstream, the Quran contained descriptions that pointed toward the earth's true shape. In one verse, it states, "He merges night into day, and he merges day into night." 31:29. The word merge suggests a gradual transition, a seamless blending of light and darkness. This would not be possible if the earth were flat. On a flat surface, the shift between day and night would be abrupt, with a sudden cutoff between light and darkness. Instead, the way night slowly overtakes the day and vice versa can only happen on a curved surface. The rotation of the earth on its axis explains this phenomenon, something that was unknown at the time of the Quran's revelation. Another verse takes this imagery further. The Quran states, "He coils the night upon the day, and he coils the day upon the night." 39 and 5/10. The Arabic word used here, kawara, is particularly striking. It refers to the act of wrapping or rolling something around, much like a person winding a turban around their head. The choice of this word is significant. It conveys the idea of a continuous, layered wrapping. Just as the Earth's spherical nature allows night and day to flow into each other in a seamless cycle. Perhaps even more astonishing is the Quran's reference to the Earth's shape using a word that closely resembles the form of an ostrich egg. While the common perception of Earth is that of a perfect sphere, modern geophysics has revealed that it is slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator. This shape, known as an oblate spheroid, is remarkably similar to that of an ostrich egg. The Quran's description of the Earth aligns with this precise detail, centuries before it was measured and confirmed. At a time when most people envisioned the world as a vast, flat plain, these verses stood in direct contrast to the prevailing beliefs. The fact that they describe the Earth's true form with such accuracy, using language that conveys curvature, rotation, and gradual transitions of light, is nothing short of remarkable. It is knowledge that could not have been observed with the tools available in the 7th century, yet it appears in the Quran as if it had always been known. Mountains have always been seen as towering symbols of strength and majesty, their peaks reaching towards the heavens as if standing guard over the lands below. To ancient civilizations, they were often considered the dwelling places of gods, immovable and eternal. Yet beneath their rugged beauty lies a scientific reality that remained hidden for much of human history, a reality that the Quran described over 1,000 years before modern geology began to unravel the mysteries of Earth's structure. In the past, people assumed that mountains were simply massive rock formations sitting atop the Earth's surface, with no deeper function beyond their imposing presence. It wasn't until advancements in geology and seismology that scientists discovered something astonishing. Mountains are not just surface structures. They have deep roots that extend far beneath the Earth's crust. They act as stabilizers, anchoring the shifting tectonic plates and reducing the intensity of movements that would otherwise shake the planet violently. Long before these discoveries, the Quran spoke of mountains in a way that hinted at their unseen role. It states, "Have we not made the earth as a bed and the mountains as pegs?" 78.6-7. The comparison to pegs is significant. A peg, when driven into the ground, has only a small portion visible above the surface, while the majority remains hidden, securing whatever it holds in place. This description mirrors the way modern science explains mountains. They are not just the rocky peaks that rise above the land, but vast formations that extend deep into the Earth's mantle, stabilizing the planet's surface. Further strengthening this idea, another verse states, "And we have placed firm mountains upon the earth, lest it should shake with them." 21:31. This suggests that mountains serve a functional role in reducing the Earth's instability, an idea that has now been supported by geological studies. The Earth's outer shell is composed of massive plates that float on molten rock, constantly shifting and colliding. When these plates move abruptly, earthquakes occur, sometimes with devastating consequences. Mountains, however, act as stabilizers, helping to regulate this movement by distributing stress and anchoring the crust. Modern research has shown that mountains form as a result of tectonic activity, where immense pressure forces sections of the Earth's crust to fold, buckle, and push upward. But beneath the visible peaks, deep roots extend downward, creating a counterbalance that helps maintain equilibrium. This phenomenon, known as isostasy, is a crucial factor in the stability of the Earth's surface. The fact that the Quran alludes to this concept, centuries before humans had any understanding of plate tectonics, is a striking example of knowledge preceding scientific discovery. Some might argue that the mention of mountains as stabilizers is merely poetic imagery rather than a literal scientific claim. Yet, when placed alongside what we now know about their function, the description becomes all the more remarkable. The Quran does not merely depict mountains as static formations, but emphasizes their role in maintaining balance, a role that modern geology has come to recognize as essential for the stability of the Earth. At a time when no tools or technology existed to peer beneath the Earth's surface, such knowledge would have been impossible to obtain through human observation alone. And yet, the Quran described mountains with a level of understanding that would only be fully appreciated centuries later. This raises a compelling question. How did such knowledge find its way into a text from the 7th century? Whether one sees this as a coincidence or as something more, the fact remains that the Quran's words stand in perfect harmony with the discoveries of modern science. Water has always been one of nature's greatest mysteries, a life-giving force that nourishes the earth and sustains every living creature. To ancient civilizations, rain was a blessing from the heavens, often attributed to the favor of the gods. Without a deep understanding of its origins, people saw rainfall as an unpredictable gift, appearing and disappearing at the whims of unseen forces. It wasn't until the development of modern meteorology that scientists unraveled the intricate dance of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, a system so precise and balanced that it ensures the continuous circulation of water across the planet. Yet long before scientific instruments could measure and analyze this process, the Quran described it in stunning detail. In an age when many believed that water simply came from lakes and rivers or that rain was an arbitrary occurrence, the Quran spoke of a cycle, a continuous process by which water is lifted, purified, and returned to the earth. It states, "And we sent down from the sky rain in due measure, and we cause it to soak into the soil." 23:18. The choice of words is striking. The mention of rain being sent down suggests a deliberate and measured system rather than a random event. The phrase "in due measure" implies precision, as if rainfall is not just an act of nature, but part of a controlled, balanced process. The Quran also highlights the movement of water beyond what is visible, referring to the stages of evaporation and cloud formation. It says, "Do you not see that Allah sends down rain from the sky and leads it through springs in the earth?" 39:21. This verse points to the way rainwater does not simply vanish after falling, but seeps underground, replenishing reservoirs and forming natural springs. Modern hydrology confirms that groundwater storage is a crucial part of the water cycle, feeding rivers, lakes, and wells long after rain has disappeared from the surface. Even the role of wind in triggering rainfall is mentioned. The Quran states, "And we send the winds as fertilization, and we send down water from the sky." 15:22. Science now confirms that wind plays a critical role in the formation of clouds, carrying moisture and aiding in the process of condensation. Without this mechanism, rainfall would be far less efficient, disrupting the delicate balance that keeps life thriving on Earth. What makes these descriptions so remarkable is not just their accuracy, but the fact that they were revealed in a time when no one had the means to observe or understand such processes. While other civilizations clung to myths and superstitions about rain, the Quran presented a vision of the natural world that aligned seamlessly with what modern science has painstakingly uncovered. The miracle of human life has fascinated and perplexed minds for centuries. In the ancient world, theories about how a baby formed inside the womb were often steeped in myth and guesswork. Some believed that a tiny, fully formed human existed inside the male seed, merely growing larger once deposited in the mother's body. Others thought life was spontaneously generated without a defined process. Without microscopes or medical imaging, early civilizations could only speculate about the mysteries of human development. Then came the Quran, describing the formation of a human being in stages with an accuracy that would not be fully understood until modern embryology emerged centuries later. In one of its most striking verses, it states, "We created man from an extract of clay. Then we made him a drop in a place of settlement, firmly fixed. Then we made the drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump, and we made from the lump bones, and we clothed the bones with flesh. Then we developed him into another creation. So blessed is Allah, the best of creators." 23:12-14. This passage presents a sequence of development that remarkably parallels what is now known through science. The journey begins with a tiny drop of fluid, what we recognize today as the sperm and egg uniting to form a zygote. The term nutfa, used in the Quran, refers to a minute drop of liquid, perfectly matching the initial microscopic state of human life. This fertilized cell then implants itself in the uterus, which the Quran describes as a place of settlement, firmly fixed. Modern medical knowledge confirms that after fertilization, the embryo burrows into the uterine wall, securing itself in place for the months ahead. The next stage, alaka, is even more fascinating. The Arabic word can be translated as a clinging substance, a leech-like entity, or even a blood clot. When viewed under a microscope, an early-stage embryo does, in fact, resemble a leech, attaching itself to the mother and drawing nutrients from her blood. It also appears as a clot-like structure due to the developing circulatory system, which has not yet fully formed into a functioning network of vessels. From there, the embryo transforms into a mudga, meaning a chewed lump. Incredibly, at this stage, the developing fetus begins forming the early shape of a human body, with somat formations that resemble the marks of teeth imprints, just as if something had been gently chewed. From this mass, bones begin to develop first, followed by the muscles and flesh that wrap around them, a process confirmed by embryologists studying fetal development. These details, revealed in a world without advanced medical tools, have left scientists in awe. Dr. Keith Moore, a renowned embryologist, once examined these verses and compared them with the modern understanding of fetal development. He was astounded at the accuracy, remarking that such information could not have been known without sophisticated technology. How could a man in the 7th century, with no access to microscopes or medical instruments, describe embryonic development in such detail? It is important to remember that in the past, scientific theories about reproduction were riddled with errors. Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers of antiquity, believed that the male contributed everything necessary for the formation of a child, while the mother merely provided a vessel. Other scholars proposed that embryos were preformed in sperm cells. These misconceptions persisted for centuries until modern science finally uncovered the truth. Yet the Quran, revealed in an age when medical knowledge was primitive, presented an account of human development that aligns seamlessly with what we now observe through the lens of embryology. The Quran does not claim to be a medical textbook, nor does it delve into excessive biological detail. Yet its words capture the essence of human formation in a way that science has only recently come to understand. The fact that it describes life's earliest moments with such clarity, centuries before humanity had the tools to confirm these facts, raises an undeniable question. Where did this knowledge come from? Whether one chooses to see this as coincidence, poetic language, or divine revelation, the reality remains. These descriptions stand in remarkable harmony with what modern science has painstakingly discovered. The human body is a masterpiece of design, a complex system of intricate details that make each individual unique. Among the most overlooked yet remarkable aspects of this uniqueness lies at the very tips of our fingers. No two people in the world, past, present, or future, have ever had the same fingerprint pattern. This tiny detail, though taken for granted today, was unknown to humanity for most of history. It wasn't until the late 19th century that fingerprints were scientifically recognized as a method of identification, revolutionizing forensic science. Yet, long before this discovery, the Quran made a striking reference to the significance of fingertips in a context that is both profound and thought-provoking. In a passage speaking about resurrection and divine power, the Quran states, "Does man think that we will not reassemble his bones? Yes, we are able even to proportion his fingertips." 75:3-4. The verse emphasizes the immense precision with which every individual will be recreated, down to the very tips of their fingers. At first glance, this might seem like a general reference to the human body, but modern science sheds new light on its deeper meaning. Fingerprints are not just random ridges on our skin. They are uniquely coded identifiers, formed in the womb and remaining unchanged throughout a person's lifetime. Even identical twins, who share the same DNA, have completely different fingerprint patterns. This discovery was made only in recent centuries, yet the Quran specifically highlights the fingertips as a marker of individuality long before anyone had the means to study them in detail. Before forensic science emerged, criminals could easily deny their involvement in a crime, leaving little physical evidence behind. Today, fingerprints have become one of the most foolproof methods of identification. used in everything from solving crimes to unlocking smartphones. Their significance goes far beyond what early civilizations could have imagined. In the 7th century, when this verse was revealed, the idea that fingerprints carried unique information about each individual was completely unknown. It is remarkable that, out of all the features of the human body, the Quran specifically mentions the fingertips in relation to identity and recreation. This raises an intriguing question. How could a book revealed over 1,400 years ago contain such precise knowledge about human uniqueness, long before science had the tools to confirm it? It is a mystery that continues to spark curiosity, inviting both believers and skeptics to ponder the depths of its meaning. Pain is one of the body's most powerful warning systems, a sensation designed to protect and alert. Without it, injuries could go unnoticed, leading to severe damage or even death. For centuries, the understanding of pain was limited. People knew they could feel it, but the mechanisms behind it remained a mystery. It wasn't until the development of modern neuroscience that scientists discovered the true nature of pain perception. Specifically, that pain is detected by specialized nerve receptors located in the skin. These receptors send signals to the brain, allowing us to react to injury or danger. What is remarkable, however, is that the Quran alluded to this scientific reality over 1,400 years ago. In a verse that delivers a stern warning, the Quran states, "Indeed, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. Every time their skins are burned through, we will replace them with new skins, so they may taste the punishment. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted in might and wise." 456. The wording is precise. It emphasizes that once the skin is completely burned, the sensation of pain ceases, and for the experience to continue, the skin must be replaced. This verse describes, with stunning accuracy, what modern science has discovered about the role of the skin in experiencing pain. Medical research has confirmed that pain is sensed through nociceptors, specialized nerve endings concentrated in the skin. When skin suffers extreme burns, these receptors are destroyed, meaning the person no longer feels pain in that area. In severe cases, doctors even test burned skin to determine whether nerve endings are still intact by pricking it. If there is no reaction, it means the nerves are no longer functioning. This discovery was made only in the last few centuries, yet the Quran explicitly mentions that sensation is tied to the skin, not merely the body in general. In an era when medical knowledge was rudimentary and pain was often misunderstood, how could this level of detail have been known? The ancient world had no concept of nerve endings or how pain perception worked. The fact that the Quran presents this insight so precisely is both fascinating and mysterious, offering yet another instance where its descriptions align with modern scientific understanding, long before science itself uncovered these truths. For centuries, philosophers and scientists believed that the smallest unit of matter was the atom, an indivisible building block of everything in existence. The very word atom comes from the Greek atomos, meaning uncuttable. The idea that there could be anything smaller was beyond comprehension. It wasn't until the 20th century that science shattered this belief, uncovering a hidden world within the atom: electrons, protons, neutrons, and even smaller particles like quarks. What was once thought to be the fundamental unit of matter turned out to be a universe of complexity in itself. Long before these discoveries, the Quran made a subtle yet astonishing statement that hinted at the existence of something smaller than an atom. It declares, "Not even an atom's weight in the heavens or the earth escapes his knowledge, nor anything smaller or larger than that, but it is in a clear record." 34 minutes and 3 seconds. At first glance, this verse speaks of divine awareness, emphasizing that nothing is beyond God's knowledge. But what makes it remarkable is the phrase, "nor anything smaller." At the time of the Quran's revelation, the prevailing belief was that the atom was the smallest possible unit of existence. If the Quran had simply stopped at mentioning the atom, it would have aligned with the scientific understanding of that era. But instead, it goes further, explicitly stating that there are things even smaller, something humanity would not confirm until thousands of years later, with the discovery of subatomic particles. Today, scientists continue to explore the depths of matter, uncovering particles so minuscule that their behavior defies classical physics. The quantum realm, where particles appear and vanish in an instant, behaves in ways that challenge everything we think we know about reality. Yet the Quran already acknowledged the existence of structures beyond the atom at a time when no microscope or scientific instrument could have detected them. How could such a statement exist in a book revealed in the 7th century when human knowledge was still limited to what could be seen with the naked eye? The fact that it does not conform to the errors of past scientific beliefs, but instead alludes to knowledge only recently uncovered, is a mystery that continues to provoke thought. Whether one sees it as coincidence or something more, the precision of these words leaves an undeniable impression. Bees have fascinated humans for centuries, their tireless work and intricate hives inspiring everything from poetry to scientific inquiry. Ancient civilizations saw them as mystical creatures, providers of nature's golden nectar, and symbols of order and diligence. But beyond their honey, bees play an even more crucial role in the ecosystem: pollination. Without them, vast amounts of plant life would struggle to reproduce, disrupting the delicate balance of life on Earth. Today, science has uncovered the astonishing complexity of how bees function. But remarkably, the Quran highlighted key details about their role and behavior long before modern research confirmed them. One of the most striking mentions of bees in the Quran appears in a verse that states, "And your Lord inspired the bee, saying, 'Take your habitations in the mountains and in the trees and in what they construct. Then eat from all the fruits and follow the ways your Lord has made easy for you.' From their bellies comes a drink of varying colors, in which there is healing for people. Indeed, in this is a sign for those who reflect." 1668-69. The language is precise. The Quran refers to the bee in the female form, a subtle but significant detail. Until relatively recently, it was commonly believed that worker bees, the ones that travel, collect nectar, and build the hive, were male. Only in modern entomology did scientists discover that the foraging bees responsible for honey production and pollination are, in fact, all female. This small but accurate distinction went unnoticed for centuries, yet it exists in the Quran, revealed at a time when such knowledge was completely unknown. Beyond this, the verse describes how bees take their homes in a variety of places: mountains, trees, and even structures built by humans, perfectly reflecting their natural nesting habits. It also speaks of them following paths laid out for them, which aligns with scientific findings on how bees communicate and navigate using complex dance movements and electromagnetic sensitivity. Even more astonishing is the Quran's mention of honey having healing properties. Today, studies confirm that honey possesses antibacterial, antifungal, and antioxidant properties, making it not just a sweet treat, but a powerful natural remedy. In an era when medicine was largely based on superstition, such an assertion was far ahead of its time. The deeper one looks, the more these verses seem to align with modern science, leaving behind a lingering question. How could knowledge so precise be found in a book revealed over 1,400 years ago? Throughout history, the relationship between science and religion has been seen as one of conflict, a struggle between faith and reason, belief and empirical proof. Yet, when one examines the Quran's descriptions of the natural world, a different picture emerges, one where science and scripture seem to walk hand in hand, not as adversaries, but as partners in the pursuit of truth. The revelations contained within its pages, spoken at a time when humanity lacked even the most basic scientific instruments, align with discoveries made centuries later. How could this be? The expanding universe, the precise motion of celestial bodies, the spherical nature of the Earth, and the stabilizing role of mountains. These are facts confirmed by modern science, yet they were written in the Quran long before telescopes and seismographs existed. The intricate process of the water cycle, the stages of human embryonic development, the uniqueness of fingerprints, and even the presence of pain receptors in the skin. Each of these scientific realities is described with astonishing accuracy. Even something as seemingly small as the Quran's reference to female bees as the workers, or the mention of particles smaller than an atom, holds profound implications. It is not simply that the Quran aligns with scientific discoveries. It is that it does so without ever falling into the errors of its time. Many ancient texts attempted to explain the natural world, yet they are riddled with myths and misconceptions. The Quran, in contrast, presents a view of reality that continues to withstand the scrutiny of modern knowledge. If it had merely reflected the beliefs of the 7th century, it would have included the same inaccuracies found in other works of that era. Instead, it describes the world with a clarity that often surpasses what was known for centuries. Skeptics may argue that some of these descriptions are coincidental, that poetic language can be interpreted in many ways. But how many coincidences does it take before one begins to wonder? How many times must an ancient text speak ahead of its time before it demands a deeper reflection? The Quran is not a book of science, but a book of guidance. Yet within its words lie insights that seem to anticipate the discoveries of the modern age. Whether one sees this as a remarkable alignment or as evidence of something greater, the fact remains. Its scientific precision challenges assumptions, invites inquiry, and continues to inspire those who seek knowledge. And that brings us to the end of this incredible journey through the scientific wonders found in the Quran. The more we explore, the more we see how faith and knowledge are not opposing forces, but reflections of the same truth. Is this mere coincidence or a sign of divine wisdom? The choice is yours to ponder. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Islamic Insights for more deep dives into the wisdom of the Quran and the teachings of Islam. Until next time, may peace, guidance, and knowledge be with you.